Hi, happy election season. It's Abuelita. So, things to ponder on again. So, I know a lot of people by now have been participating in early elections, and that's great. That's phenomenal. Now, for those people who've done that already, your vote has been cast. You cannot turn back. So, if anything I say makes you change your mind, I'm sorry, that ship has sailed for you. For anyone else who has yet to make their vote, I want you to consider something. So one of the arguments I've heard is that one side wants to close down the Department of Education. So, now that's not one of their louder or stronger arguments, but they have said they want to shut down the Board of Education. So, one does wonder, what, if anything, will they replace it with? Or will they replace it at all? Now, you're probably thinking, well, this has nothing to do with me. Well, if you are an individual who has recently become a parent, or you are an existing parent, and your children are under the age of 18, then, so sorry to say this, it does highly affect you, and honestly, it affects everyone. So, if they shut down the Board of Education, does this mean that within the year, all public schools from elementary or pre-K all the way up to college level that are public affiliated will be shut down? That's going to put a whole bunch of people out of work. And for those individuals who work and working parents, that puts a big old conundrum on you. And literally your community, because who is going to be watching after these children? Who is going to be teaching these children? You know, it's one of those things where we have been taught for time and going back forever, the children are the future. So with the destruction of the Board of Education, that means those who have the wealth and those who maybe attend religious schools will be able to have their children educated, which means everybody else is going to be basically a cog. C-O-G, cog. You'll be working, but you will never ever be able to rise above your station in life. Think about that. Their main arguments right now are the border. I'll say it like this. People who come to our border, a good majority of them are seeking asylum for reasons that anyone else would leave their country for. Even now, here in the United States, there are people who are discussing the possibility on both sides on, if this candidate wins, I'm going to leave the country. I'm going to move wherever. I'm going to move to Mexico. I'm going to move to Canada. I'm going to move to, name that country. Because they would rather leave than to deal with the possibility that the candidate they don't want to become president is going to do things that are going to change their life forever. So, the border, yeah, it's an issue, but is it an issue that you would be willing to sacrifice a hefty chunk of your freedoms for. You know, a lot of the freedoms in this country are hard fought for. You know, especially for women. But for every man or woman who has served in the military for this country at any given part in time in the history, there are certain things that they have fought for, and we're not asked to fight for it. I mean, they volunteered. But it's a spit in the face of their service to use them in a way that is negative toward the public at large, but to also denigrate their service because the countries that we sent them to fight on behalf of our values will be told, whatever, wasn't worth it. The Korean War never stopped. It's still active. It's just in a Cold War state right now. And has been for quite a long time. Enough so that the original Korean War vets are either gone because they've died, or they are old enough to be in a nursing home. And you still have people who fought in the Vietnam War and in every other covert operation, including all the modern wars, that you're basically telling these people your service didn't matter. If, say, something like Project 2025 goes into effect, or maybe what the Republicans are saying on the reverse side, maybe Kamala's the worst, or whatever. This is what it comes down to. Which candidate is going to do the least amount of damage to this country? Do you really want to go back to the civil rights movement and ask yourself, was that a good time? Depending upon what side of that you were on, maybe you have a living grandparent who can tell you what that was all about. I don't know. We're supposed to be moving forward. This is the 21st century. But I can see now how some other countries would look to the United States and go, what the fuck? I mean, anyway, I know who I'm voting for. That's private, and I'm not telling anyone. It's none of your business. And I want you to remember that too. If you go to the polls and someone says, who you voting for? Say, none ya business. I ain't gonna ask you. Don't ask me. So, anyway, if they do end up closing the Board of Education, y'all better know who is in your community who can teach your little children. Otherwise, I mean, we're already low in the rankings of the world's best educated. This is going to drop us like a stone all the way down to the bottom if you don't watch it. All right. That's my rant for today. Bye.